ignition.
Hello, welcome, good to see you again. Now, on today's reviews we've got some good ones. We're going to start with... So, we have got the review from Top Gear, and what they've managed to gather together is all the Bond cars.
And that's a selection, isn't it?
I love James Bond. In fact, I think one can see a certain resemblance to him.
What was that?
I don't know.
Hair.
That was flicking my hair.
I'll get the polisher out later.
Yeah, thanks for that. And what Top Gear have done, and they've gathered together the Bond cars, but they've got one per Bond. So
right.
As the Bond change, they've chosen a car.
Yes.
And we can go through each one, but I'm not 100% convinced, but that's what watching things is all about, that they've picked the right one. But clearly, the first car at the beginning there is the one that we've not seen, which is apparently we're 2020 March, aren't we?
Certainly are.
And James Bond film is coming out, hence why Top Gear have done this. So there's a new film, and apparently he's going to drive that.
What, the DB1?
Yes.
Well, when you look at it, it's very different to the others.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a James Bond car. I mean, he's not going to be inconspicuous. I mean, not that you are in an Aston Martin anyway, but that one sticks out like a donkey. Doesn't it?
Nice phrase, yeah. It does. No, it does. No.
I was going to say but I didn't know if that would offend anyone.
Well, you've just done it now.
Oh, sorry. I was a dick there, wasn't I? Yeah.
So, wow, that's certainly a looker, isn't it?
So let's go through them. So we've got, I say this all the time, but basically that is, if I was going to pick a car for life, that Aston Martin DB5 is the car, isn't it? So that's Sean Connery's.
Ooze is cool.
Enough said. I'm glad you said that, because that's what you meant.
I meant you were cool.
Yeah. So,
keep dreaming.
That is Sean Connery's Aston Martin. So we've got machine guns at the front, we've got the screen coming up the back, and it's hammered with putang.
Yeah, of course it would be.
There is putang in every seat of that one. So that is, in my opinion, the best car there. But let's move through the lot. Okay. There's no point. We started at the best, so let's work. Mind you, there's a lot to be said for the Lotus, and that's
very true.
Roger Moore's, wasn't it?
Yes. Roger Moore.
If you can remember who he is.
Not really.
He was...
I've never... the older ones I can't really remember.
What, you're more of a Daniel Craig?
I'm more of a Daniel, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I liked Sean Connery's films with the old ones were... I mean, they were being made when I was born. I know.
Did they have cameras?
Well, and... But the Lotus was a bit of a departure, and that was super cool because that was the submarine.
Yes.
And that was obviously one of the. It was just so exciting when that dived off into the water.
And he didn't die.
And he didn't die. And Roger Moore, I think Roger Moore was. He was the coolest James Bond for me. Okay. Sean was brilliant, but I really liked Roger Moore. Maybe that was because he was more in even my time.
Right, so what are the other ones then?
Then we've got the one, obviously...
In the middle,
yeah, let's put
it in the middle.
In the middle is... that would be Daniel Craig's, wouldn't it? So that would be Daniel Craig's DB1. I don't know what this one at the front's called.
Oh, is it not a DB1?
No, the DB1 is...
Oh, they're both new. Oh, well.
Yeah, no, the one in the middle between the Lotus and the Aston, in the middle, not the first car at the front. I was going to say the grey one, but they're all bloody grey. Is the DB1,
okay.
And they only made 10 of those. I know they only made 10 of those, so it was never really a production car.
No.
But the one in the front is the new car, and I'm not sure what they're calling it. If they've even named it yet, but because it didn't really particularly feature in this.
Well, I imagine they're not letting anyone drive it.
Well, probably only Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
But so no, the DB1's behind.
Okay.
Then you've got the BMW, which was Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
And behind that, you've got a beautiful Aston Martin. You've got the two big Aston Martins. The one on the left, I think, is Timothy Dalton's, and that was the one that had skis that came out. And the one right at the back would be George Lazenby. Think of that, George Lazenby, and that's DBS.
Okay.
So I love the DB5, and I like the V8 Vantage, which is the second one from the back.
Yes,
I think that's a proper manly car. That.
Yeah.
But the BMW, I'm not so sure about because
it looks a bit. I wouldn't use the term, but it looks a bit.
I don't know if it's from the same film.
Soft.
Yeah, it does. The same film he drove with his mobile phone, which was that big.
Yeah.
He drove a mobile phone from the back seat, and he actually drove the 7 Series.
Oh yes, yeah.
Surely that it should have been the 7 Series, not that. But anyway,
No.
that was sort of when they must have fallen out with Aston Martin for something. So, but the Lotus was super cool.
Yeah,
super cool.
That's worthy of an Aston replacement.
Yeah, I don't like this one at the front. It doesn't sort of fit.
Sit.
In fact, actually, to be fair, I'm not super keen on Daniel Craig's one either.
Oh no, I think the DB1 does a good job, but the one at the front isn't quite James Bond for me. It's not cool. It hasn't got that cool.
It hasn't.
It's not.
Doesn't look quite right to me.
All the others, if you look at them, they're slightly practical as such.
Yeah,
aren't they?
and
this one's not.
And to be fair, I think he should be driving an Aston Martin, not a concept Aston Martin. So Daniel Craig's DB1 only made 10, and they were made for the film.
Yes, very true.
Now I want to see him in an Aston Martin, just one that I can go and buy. Well, obviously I can't, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Buy, yes. Well, this one he's not even going to get up a curb, is he?
No.
You know, so
no, and I mean they go, but it's sort of not a proper car, is it? So, but anyway, but thoroughly enjoyed it. And one of the other things in this episode of the Top Gear video that they do, they show how they do some of the stunts.
Okay.
Because in the recent ones, Daniel Craig's always ended up driving the DB5 as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he gets the DB5 out some storage and goes, you're not really into James Bond like I am. I love James Bond. I'm not keen on Daniel Craig. It's not him, think he's great, but I don't like the films. I like a bit more comedy, more gadgets, and they sort of drop the gadgets, they've dropped the funny one-liners, which is probably why I like the early ones, because they were much funnier. And it's just another film now, it's just a violent film. I've got nothing wrong with that either, but it just seems to be a violent film where it was just funnier. They'd have more poo-tang. Whenever they went in, and there would always be a gorgeous girl behind the reception in a hotel who would instantly want to sleep with James Bond. I know what it's like. Let's say no more. So let's move on from that. Anyway, I think that car's called Valhalla, but I won't swear to it because I'm reading the poster here. Does it say Valhalla never dies? Aston is back.
Valhalla. That sounds.
Could that be called Valhalla?
It does,
but I don't know. I have watched it, but I can't remember. I was more interested in the fact that is how they keep up with modern day supercars in the current James Bond films in that DB5. Okay. And that part of it is really interesting.
Right.
Anyway,
don't ruin it.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Right, now we're not going to talk about ladies and poo-tang. We're going to talk about Car Wow.
Sorry, everyone.
A little bit more important. Car Wow, he's got his hands on the new Range Rover Velar. Now, this isn't called an SVR.
I was going to ask you that already.
It's called an SVA, so...
Why?
It's SV and then autobiography. No one knows why. He didn't like the name.
Is it so? I thought it was SVR is special vehicle racing or something like
along those lines. But
so special vehicle.
They've called this the SVA and the A, so it's SV autobiography on the back.
Oh.
And I don't really get it. I think it should have been SVR as well. But in the video he mentions that they wouldn't have called it that because the Jaguar is an SVR, and they're basically the same car, just bodied differently.
So no Range Rovers are called SVRs as well?
Yeah, they are. But they didn't call this one an SVR because Jag's got an SVR out. of the same car.
That's stupid. Because it's not the same car, because they don't look anything like
exactly,
each other.
Exactly. But so he goes through and does actually a very in-depth review. It was 23 minutes, if I remember rightly, this video. So a bit longer for Car Wow. And he goes through every nook and cranny. You know, he does his stick of truth on the exhausts, all that malarkey. But it was actually a very interesting video because this one's got a little trick up its sleeve. It can do drift mode, which I'm not entirely sure what you're going to use that in an SUV, but it's cool to have. So he shows that off as well.
We've discussed in the past, though, I don't really get the Range Rover and Land Rover difference now.
Well, I now especially don't understand the Velar and the Sport because they're almost the same car. I mean, look, that's massive.
But also, when I look at the front of that, that looks like a Discovery to me.
A Discovery, a Range Rover, and
I mean, the new Defender, I think, looks really good.
Oh yeah.
But almost that should be the Discovery. That's what the Discovery, and the Defender should be a hardcore, starting at a much cheaper price with a pickup that a farmer could buy. Yes. They seem to have forgotten that type of person.
No, they've gone far too luxurious.
Yeah, although you know I love the Defender.
Oh yeah,
I think it looks great, the new one. And the old one was horrendous.
It is, like you say, a replacement for the Discovery.
I think they should have just brought that out as the Discovery, and the Defender should be a hardcore thing. But I don't see why Land Rovers and Range Rovers look the same, and there still is a gulf in price. So, and you know I like a Range Rover.
Love them.
I love them.
But it's just they seem to have gone off the. They've got so many models out that are all so similar.
I don't see the point of that one.
No. No, because you're either going to go for a Sport or an Evoque, and that seems a bit too close to both.
That was the first one that came out with all the sexy screens inside, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it's the one. It's almost the Sport is redundant, and that one is the one that we should all be looking at.
Yes. Well, it's got the same engine as the Range Rover Sport.
And is that cheaper or dearer than the Sport?
It's slightly cheaper.
So that's the one you go for, isn't it?
86,000.
Oh, we'll have a couple of those. 86,000.
86,000
So what would that be here?
120? Yeah, and the rest, I reckon. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's still got 550 horsepower, it's a V8, and it sounds awesome.
And it's beautiful.
But it is beautiful.
I love the colour, I love the wheels. I tell you what, it looks massive next to
it. It does, yeah. I mean, it makes that X6 look small, actually.
I wouldn't have thought that was, it did on scale, and I'm assuming he hasn't shrunk himself in this.
You wouldn't have thought
that looks massive.
It does.
Would you have one?
Oh, if I could afford one, probably not.
Oh.
But I'd like one for free. I think I'd just have to go for the Vogue, wouldn't you? The Range Rover Vogue, the big one.
Oh, the big.
I just would.
What if money was no object?
Money was no object, but if I was coughing that sort of money, I'd probably go for a used Sport.
Well, that one just seems massive. I
don't really understand the point of it. Without sounding too hard.
But a good review.
Oh, cracking review.
Interesting car.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, and he has quite a good verdict at the end, so I think definitely worth checking out, especially if you're interested in one, which, if you're lucky enough to, definitely check it out. Yeah. It's a nice one. But the next picture I've got here is just him testing out the drift mode. Thought I'd set that one in there.
That's a lovely looking car.
Oh, it's a mean. Yeah, it's mean, but...
that is a lovely looking car.
That's definitely going to replace the Sport, I think.
I don't know why they haven't done that already.
I think give it time and they will. But it's.
I mean, that to me is that looking at it with the drift mode and everything. Surely that is the Range Rover Sport.
Sportier than the Sport.
Yeah. I don't like the name much either. I think they should have just stuck with what they've got.
Yes, I tend to agree. But cracking review and check it out. He's very funny as Car Wow. So
and it is a stunning car.
It is a stunning car. So definitely watch it if you're interested.
In fact, they're showing that picture. I want one more than I thought I did. Okay. I like that.
Well, he said he's selling it to you, is he? Oh, we're back.
Turning rust.
Turning rust.
Well, this is one I've just found.
It is, yes.
So I've just found them, so I thought I'd throw it in for this week, and I'm not sure that I loved it or hated it.
Okay.
But thoroughly enjoyed it, if that makes any sense. So what we've got is deep in the heart of Texas. You've got a father and son duo of Lance and Wyatt, and what this episode, obviously there's lots of them, and part of their thing is old cars that have sat doing nothing for a heck of a long time and have got some patina, as they would call
Okay.
it.
Yep.
So they've got some rust and some faded paintwork, and they like all of that, and they like to keep it and enhance it. And on this particular one, because I'm currently obsessed by Volkswagen Beetles,
Yes.
this one appealed to me. But the story is that somebody has a garage, which you can see here, and 20 years ago they parked a Volkswagen Beetle in it and have never touched it since. Apparently had something wrong with the front brake. They've taken the wheel off, as you can see, and that's how it sat. So he wants to knock his garage down, so he's called Lance and Wyatt to come and offered it to them for nothing.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
And so they come to, they think that it'll only be good enough for parts.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
And it's slow. I'm not going to pretend it's not slow.
The video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were just going to drag it back to their workshop
Okay.
and work on it. Well, they don't. They open the back up. The engine bay at the back here is full of rat's poo and rats' nests and everything like that. So they dig in with their hands.
Your gloves?
One has gloves, which they found in the corner here.
Nice.
And they decide that they're going to try and start it.
Okay.
And you'll need to watch
I
it to
can see.
find out what happens.
Yes.
Because I watched it because I thought, well, you know, I'm interested to see them. I'm interested just to see someone, how you try and start a car.
In that condition.
Yeah, because surely you take all the oil out, you change all the fuel, and it's never going to start after that length of time. But I was just interested to see, one, how they'd get it out. Two, they wanted to sod around trying to start it, which to me was a waste of time. And they only went more or less with the screwdriver.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know how, but a lot of these old rusty cars seem to do pretty well. So
they do. So that's an interesting one. And then I've watched another couple since, and actually they do quite a. They're quite. Particularly the son is quite a skilled fabricator.
Okay.
There's one with a big van, and the customer that they've got wants to drop it on air suspension, and they hack the chassis and everything around, putting airbags in, and do a really, when it's finished, it looks almost like you'd imagine if you took the other than they hadn't painted it, it looks like you're lifting the body off a Formula One car. It was beautifully done.
Wow.
A triangular suspension.
Cool.
They handmade for it with a tape measure.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're
they don't
talented.
use little micrometers and things.
No, they're quite. I suppose you'd call them redneck, but talented.
So they can do it almost by eye as such.
Yeah, and they're just. I mean, they are an odd couple. I'll say no more. But that episode, if you're interested in trying to see how anyone starts a 20-year-old car, success or failure, and then with 4 rotted out tyres, the tyre's not even on, and they only go with a screwdriver, it's entertaining.
Okay.
It is. It's a bit slow when you spend a little bit too long watching them picking muck out the back.
Right.
Let's say it as it is, because we're recommending you watch, or I'm recommending you watch it. But there is a fair period of them pulling things out the back, but actually all quite entertaining.
Okay. Well, I'm going to watch that one.
It was entertaining.
Because we both like a Beetle.
We love a Beetle.
So that's
that is them. So Dad's on the left, Son is in the middle, and their mate who does some of the video work and helps them when they're stuck. But that's the sort of thing
that's
they rescue. It's a beast, isn't it?
a rust heap, isn't it?
You know, they'll put if they rescue something that's sort of 1940s.
Yeah.
And they decide they're going to put something modern and get all a modern powertrain through it, and their modern powertrain came from the 70s.
Oh, okay. I see what type of people they are.
But no, they're very interesting, but they're a little bit more talented than I first thought, having watched the Beetle one, because I've watched a couple now.
I think there's one more.
And that's their workshop, and
What
they're
is that?
things that they've worked on. So you can see the GMC ambulance they've slammed.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
they've got a buggy and a couple of the trucks at the background. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah,
they
I'm
do
liking
quite
that.
a nice job.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
Some they do a rubbish job on, some they do a nice job on.
Okay.
But whatever it is, it's interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like a redneck gas monkey garage.
Okay.
Garage.
More redneck.
Much more redneck.
Right. Oh, well, I'll check those out tonight, I think. So moving on to mine. This is four-wheel drive action. One of our favourite channels.
Yeah.
We're both into a bit of 4x4ing, aren't we?
We are.
So this video actually was very interesting for me. I don't think you've watched this one.
I haven't watched this one.
This was very interesting. This only came out last week, as such, a couple of days ago. Now this was a Jocko who's becoming probably one of our favourite hosts on the show.
Oh, we like that. Yeah.
We're liking Jocko. He's cool. He chats with the experts from Fulcrum Suspension. Now this is an Australian company that they do go four-wheeling with sometimes. They're the experts and make professional sort of suspension. So you've got the independent suspension, ISF, they call it, I think, independent suspension, something, ISF, or the free axle. Then
the rigid frame.
The rigid. They tell you what sort of height you can go, the limitations and everything. Very good video and very informative actually. Different for them. They go through some things, but mainly they do videos of 4x4ing, but this was different for them. They showed the different types of suspension, and I thought it was very interesting because it's helpful to someone like us because we like 4x4ing.
Yeah, I couldn't answer you that question.
No,
because we differ quite a lot on how we want the car to look and the suspension. We've not got round to lifting a vehicle yet, and it's on our agenda to do.
It is.
But I would have said the 4-inch lift if you're rock crawling, and I would have said the 2-inch lift if you were sort of mud bogging and going over relatively rough terrain but not big rocks.
Right.
Would I be right or wrong?
Well, you'd be right to an extent, but they more describe the types of suspension. So if you've got, like you can see in the image, the D-Max on the right,
yeah,
that's got ISF at the front.
So that's just
you physically can't lift that more than 2 inches,
right.
They say, other than you have to drop the whole frame down.
Right.
Because as the arms are so short, they're only that, they can't go down far.
Right.
Where the other one, you can lower the whole thing and get a massive lift.
Yes, because the whole axle rotation.
Yes.
Because on the Isuzu, you've got the whatever you call it, the triangular bit.
The upper control
arm. The upper control arm. So that's only got a certain amount of distance.
Yeah,
to go.
The more you go down, especially on these independent ones, the more you go down, the faster the wheels come in. The wheelbase will drop because as you're going down, they're coming in. So it's quite interesting to see because Graham, which the D-Max is there, he's got a 2-inch lift on that, which you wouldn't know. You genuinely wouldn't.
Oh no, I didn't think he had a.
I didn't think he did either, but he's got a 2-inch lift on that, and that's why they're comparing because there's a 4 and a 2.
Actually, I actually saying that, I don't think he did that long ago. He put the lift on.
Oh, okay. But then to the next picture, there is Jocko with one of the experts from the Fulcrum Suspension, and they go through and he discusses and tells you the sort of ins and outs of it. I won't go into too much of it because he sort of goes in there and out there a little bit, but that's my brain. But then it's a very informative video, almost too informative for my brain. But I think it's a very good video. Interesting if you're into 4x4ing and want to lift your car, because there's not many in-depth videos like that.
No, I've not seen one, and I need to up my knowledge because I've got none.
Yes, so yeah, for you it'd be very good because your Jeep's that sort of style.
It is, and that's what. It's not that what I want to do to it; it's what's already been done to it.
True, very true.
But I need to change some parts on mine because won't bore you with it, but in Portugal everything is very, very legalised, and you have to carry a registration document of the car with you at all times. It even has the tyre size on.
It does.
So if you wanted to widen your wheels, you've got to get it what they call matriculated here.
Yes.
So it's expensive, and everything you do they test. So the Wrangler I bought, someone had already gone through the pain of having it all retested.
Yes.
So I bought it it's quite an old one, and I bought it as a project so that rather than me have to go through the process or us go through the process of the matriculation, we won't have to. Because our knowledge is zero, we're not going to pretend it's any other. But with this, because it's been done, I can take the parts off and put parts on, and not have to worry too much about the geometry because someone else has already had that aggravation.
They have, and had it read and had it all legalised. So you're onto a winner there. But
Yeah.
back to this.
So I will be watching that because
Yeah.
I need to up my knowledge on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. But for this video, if you're looking to upgrade, lift and whatever, because it's only this country that's a pain to do it. Most countries are okay, aren't
I
they?
think so.
Most countries are okay, but it's a very informative video, and I thought it was just very interesting.
Okay.
So
I like that.
I think you should check that out. Next. Ooh.
Now this one intrigued me because I don't know whether, if you're a YouTuber-holic like I am now, I don't watch TV. I mean, the fact we've changed countries, we were from the UK, so getting UK programmes is proving harder and harder, but up popped a UK Channel 4, so made programme.
Okay.
And you've seen these, but I bet you can't remember because it's quite a while ago. And we've watched these, and it's called For the Love of Cars, and it was a Channel 4 programme. And the full 45-minute episodes are now on YouTube,
Okay.
and it's presented by Philip Glenister and the mechanics and Anstead, who now does Wheeler Dealers.
Yeah.
And this programme it's got the Wheeler Dealers format, and this episode was on a Mini Cooper, and the Mini Cooper of this vintage apparently is rocking horse. No, but they're
Okay.
just, people who've got them won't sell them,
Yeah.
and older ones that look like that just don't exist.
Okay.
But anyway, obviously they do
Just
because they
yeah,
found
they
one.
found one.
And the programme, Philip Glenister sort of hosts it, and what he does is he also gives you a full insight into how the Mini was concepted, made, and why different incarnations of it, so where John Cooper got involved and things like that. So it's just a very interesting programme. And then Anstead literally, when I say renovates it, it is back to, in fact it's better than it was probably when it came out of the factory.
Okay.
And then at the end of it they auction it, and his goal is to break the world record of an amount paid for a car.
Well, for a car? Or just
For
a Mini?
that.
That car?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
So they've done the Mini, they do a Ford Escort, they do, and then they take them all to auction, and if the most money ever paid for a Cooper, let's say, was 50 grand, I don't know what it was, they try and get more than the 50 grand.
Okay.
So he does such a good job to try and make it the most valuable car, classic car of its type at that snip of time.
Okay, I see what you're saying there.
They did a great one on the Triumph Stag as well, and that was quite
Stag,
that was quite entertaining as well.
Yes.
And the Stag, moving off this one, but the Stag has a perceived problem with overheating,
Okay.
and they go and get that tested to decide whether it's an engineering issue or a building and the factory back in Britch Leyland times issue, and so you get a little bit more about the car. Not so much Wheeler Dealers, you get to see more of the building. This you don't. It's a more rounded view of, Alec Inagonis designed that car, and it's why he designed it, because the Suez fuel crisis when the car was designed first time round, no one could get fuel, so they needed more fuel efficient little cars. And then it was designed to take 4 adults with their luggage cheaply around the country. And then John Cooper said, "Oh no, I want to go racing with it because it handles so well," which is why the Cooper evolves. And it's just it's actually a really, really good programme.
I'm going to change to that one, that's the back.
And they found that car, they could only find one, and that was in Ireland.
Was it?
And someone had dumped it in a garage and again hadn't
It's a beautiful
touched it. It's a really nice one as well.
Yeah, it is.
And and it's a really interesting restoration. Everything about it is fascinating. They do a DeLorean as well, and it's not so much. They found one that was in cracking condition, so there wasn't much to renovate about it. And it was a really good insight into how John DeLorean starts the company and how he goes bust, and it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Okay.
But there we are.
We'll
So that's a really good one. So that's For the Love of Cars.
The Love of
And
Cars.
again,
Good name.
We'll drop the
links.
link
All
here.
the links will be in the description. So we're moving on to my next
More
one.
up to
A little
date.
bit more up to date, because I'm more up to date myself. A bit more up to date person.
Other than in your clothing.
Okay, you brought me up this way. Anyway, then we've got.
Nice read that.
Yeah, it is
I
a
do
lovely
believe
thread.
I bought you that.
So we've got the Throttle House boys. Now this is Thomas and James. They're testing some of the most recent luxury vehicles. Now on the left, we have a 760i BMW, and we've got an Audi S8. Now, looking at those two, they are luxurious and they are quite attractive. But that Beamer's grille, got to talk about that. What is that?
Well, I love a Beamer.
Yeah, I'd like your opinion on that grille because you are a bit of a Beamer man.
I love a Beamer, and I don't like that at
No.
all. The Audi looks way better.
It does.
Way better. In every shape or form.
I think it's a bit of a shame what they're doing to the grills because I don't quite understand it. I don't.
All I've heard is that it's the Chinese market that like it.
Really? They like that.
Apparently so. I mean, it doesn't do it for me. I think, as we said in last week's, little kidney grills are what I like, and I think they're just following a trend that their design doesn't suit.
Right. Yeah. No. I agree. So this video, they test the cars. I mean, they go through every single detail of the car.
Do they?
Yeah, they go through.
I haven't seen this one.
Oh, it's a 40-minute video. It's
Nice.
a long one.
I like that.
They go through the inside, the outside, and you know what you've seen these two, haven't you, before?
Yeah.
You know what they're like. They joke about and argue with each other the whole time about which is better. So in the Beamer we've got a V12, and in the Audi we've got a V8. Now they bicker about that, of course, and they're just really funny chaps. I think the 40 minutes went like that for me. So I thought this.
That's not like you.
No,
either.
it's not like me. So I thought this was a great video actually because they just do jokes. I don't know quite how they do it, but the jokes work. So I can't fault it in that way.
I don't think you can give anything a higher recommendation than if it's 40 minutes long and you sat through it.
I sat through a 40-minute video, which for me is impressive.
Because you're a fast forward queen.
King. I'd like to be called king. But no, yeah. I thought that was a fantastic video, and they do go through every single nook and cranny of the car.
And you'd have?
I'd take the Audi.
Yeah.
I just would. Even though the Beamer is.
They're beautiful inside.
Oh god, the inside's something else. They've got pillows in the back.
Oh.
You know, you're in the chair. Oh,
I think the Beamer's not going to be. I mean, I haven't seen this, and I've not sat in a 760. I think the Beamer will be the nicest inside, and there's always this argument that if you're sitting inside, you can't see the outside. But I don't want to get out, lock it, and walk back
and look at that.
No,
I tend to agree with you. So I personally would have taken the Audi, but it's interesting their opinions on the cars because they both go for a drive in each. One in the back, one in the front.
Yeah.
And they carve the canyons, as they say. But cracking video, and if you're interested in, even if it's an A7 and just a 3-litre diesel versions, they're still, you can get the idea. So
Yes.
if you're interested in those, it's a very, very, very good video.
Nice one.
And hang on, there they are. That's on one of their jokes in the middle. Yeah, at the beginning of the video. Very good joke. I thought I'd just put that little picture in to let you do a little guess of what the joke's about.
Oh, I've got to guess what they're joking about.
Come on, what are they joking about?
They're looking down at the front of a BMW.
Oh, okay, you're not as dirty minded as me. Anyway, right, that was that.
What, is he seeing how far he can urinate?
Well, I don't think it was quite about the urination part. I think it was about the
length.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were looking at the grill.
No, well, that's what. Yeah, okay, that's what it turns out to be. But that was the joke, and I think it caught me off guard. I thought it was very funny. So
that could have just got me off guard as well.
The first 5 minutes went just because of that joke.
Perfect.
But very good video.
Right.
So
well, that's
my
coffee and watching for tonight.
So I think it should be. Oh.
Now
another mini. You're onto a little bit of a mini day.
Well, I thought actually because I'd shown the other mini.
You got to show this one.
And that was restoring a classic back to as it came out the factory.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other end of the scale.
Okay.
So this is Car Pervert, which is Johnny Smith.
Johnny Smith,
I seem to do one of his every week. So obviously you can tell I like what he does, and he should have never left fully charged. But anyway, he goes to Swindon, a company in Swindon called, and this is the Swinney.
Swinney, great name.
And what they basically are offering to do is they will source you a classic car. Doesn't just have to be a Mini, but at the moment they tend to be doing Mini, so you could get yourself an old Cooper just like the one we've watched there, or we've shown you on the Lover Cars, and they will restore it and they will completely rebuild it however you want it, and put in an electric drivetrain.
Cool.
And turn that into a EV.
Nice. And what's that running then as power wise?
Well, at the moment they've built their own powertrain and battery pack.
Interesting. Okay.
But they're
not using someone else's.
No, but they're going to. They say what they're going to do is reuse.
Good idea.
Write-offs as such, and at the moment they've sort of created a T shape, so it sort of goes under the back seats and sort of forms the transmission tunnel where the transmission tunnel would be on a Mini. And they've got a 24 kilowatt hour battery in the one that he's test driven, and that's going to give you around 120 miles of range.
It's not bad.
It's got regen on it. It's an interesting vehicle.
And is it front? I'm guessing it's front wheel drive.
Front wheel drive, electric motor in there, which is under the front bonnet.
And what sort of power?
110 horsepower-ish.
Oh, that'll go well.
So it goes well.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Wheel spins it.
Yeah. As you do.
The centre of gravity's lower.
Because of the weight.
And it's not much heavier than a standard Mini, which is a bit of a surprise. But normally they're a lot heavier, but I think this was like having a second passenger in. It's only sort of 70, 100 kilos.
But they've doubled the power, haven't they? So.
But it's got a lot more power in it, and that's what they can do. So again,
awesome.
they're thinking of selling. They'll either do it for you or sell you a kit to do it.
That's great.
Now this won't ruin it for anybody, because if you're interested, you're going to want to watch it. Most of us wouldn't buy one anyway. How much? For that car.
That exact car, not just the kit that they put in.
No. So they'll source you the car.
So they've sourced that car, restored that car, and put the kit in.
The kit in and changed the bits. And for instance, where you've got the panel, you've got your button panel. You know, you've got a lot more buttons. You've got heated seats. It's got underfloor heating.
No.
Yeah, I don't quite know how they've done that.
Use the batteries.
Yeah, so it's got. So I'm assuming it's just like. We've never had it, but I'm assuming it's just an electric thing on.
Wow, okay.
What would you cough for that then?
That car? Well, as it's been restored, and it should be as new standards, I'd give them, if a new Fiat 500 is 40 grand.
How do you know that?
Because I've
read it.
I
don't know what it's going to be.
I think that they must want 35 to 40 grand for as well. No, it can't be. 50? 60? 65?
Sorry, you keep telling me off that.
It's alright, 65. 70?
70.
70 grand for that? That's a shame.
To put it in perspective, he parks it next to the new electric Mini, and you can have 3 of them for that.
Well, I'm afraid that's ridiculous.
The but is, somebody has to fund this at its early stage. You've got to hope there's a few very wealthy people who want to drive round Paris or Mayfair or somewhere like that, and they want to look cool.
Yes.
And that is a cool car.
Oh, it is. There's no getting away from it.
It's good fun, and you are preserving a classic. Whether you fall into because that one you can't put it back. They've done things to that. Well, I could be wrong, but I don't think you go. Well, you could go back. You can always go back, but it would never be original again.
You'd have to rebuild mounts and things, would you?
Yeah, and they've put this big tunnel in it, and they've done things to it that you could retrospectively go back to an engine, but the car would never be original. I suppose you could hide the wells and whatever.
Well, I think for, as you're saying, £70,000, that is.
Pat Sterling UK.
That's a fortune.
It's a fortune.
I can't see who's going to buy it, although I'd like to.
No. I mean, you know, if I had £70,000, I wouldn't be buying that.
No, you go and buy a Tesla.
Oh,
You just
I'm
would.
afraid.
I'm afraid you just would.
Um,
So I think that's a shame. I was hoping you were going to say they'd do it cheap.
25.
But yeah, 25, 30. I thought 35 would be a bit steep.
Well, I suppose the car, if you just bought one in really good condition in the UK, you're probably going to be paying 10, 15 now. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But and then all the work they've done to it, I don't think they're overcharging. It's just in the real world, because it's they're building them one at a time.
Yes, they're just not going to take off.
You know,
not how many people can afford 70 grand. Not many.
No, I want them to succeed, and I hope they do, because there comes a time that I want to do that to my Jeep.
Yes, of course.
So I want to buy a kit in 15 years' time and electrify my Jeep.
Yes, for sure.
But we shall see. But it's a very interesting and great review, and he always does great reviews.
Yes, yeah, Johnny Smith's always good for that.
So watch it. Let's crack on. The Car Pervert.
Okay. So now we're moving on to sort of the latest cars that are coming out this week. We've missed Geneva, hasn't it? That was cancelled.
Geneva's cancelled because, again, at this period of time we've got the coronavirus. So so it's been cancelled. So the reviews have come out. So let's crack on with these. We'll try and do these a bit faster. So CarWow's got one. Great publicity shot, that, because that is one heck of a stunning vehicle.
And it's the first time that you've mentioned the car before the lady stood behind it.
I know.
Impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say,
car.
I haven't even noticed her.
No.
That car is stunning.
Yeah, that wide body at the back. Oh, it's awesome.
So,
spoiler.
Matt's done I think it's a 40-minute whiz round of what should have been at Geneva.
Okay.
Where normally he does a whiz round of Geneva.
He couldn't,
so he's done a whiz round of what should have been at Geneva. So the Alfa Romeo he's got there, which is the GTA, the carbon pack.
Nice.
He goes and looks at the Mercedes, the new E-Class, the new Golf GTI, the i4 Beamer, Porsches. Excellent. So that's quite a lengthy video, but it gives you a good sample of what's coming out in the years 20 to 22.
Awesome. And that's CarWow.
CarWow.
Next.
Then Arctic Fuel, he's got, Thomas has got his hand on the Exceed, so it's a sort of SUV version of the classic Seed. I mean, Kia's make great cars, and Arctic Fuel do. If you're interested in buying a specific car, once you've ironed it down to a couple of cars, watch them. They do every single piece, don't they? Yeah, he almost talks about every nut and bolt on it, and very, very, very good reviews. In-depth good reviews. Cool. Next, we got another. He's done a sum-up, hasn't he? Yeah. Arctic Fuel, he's done a sum-up like CarWow's done, but now I watched him in. It seems like it was only yesterday, but he must have been in Geneva last year. Wow. And he walked around Geneva on camera for 2.5 hours. I remember that. That doesn't seem like a year ago. No, it doesn't. And it's if you were there. So again, if you're going to watch this one, if you want a full in-depth review of what cars are coming out which should have been at Geneva, this one is, again, I think it's 2.5 hours long. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Is it? This one was, yeah. So it's if you want to know what's coming out in the next few months and year, this is the one to watch. Yeah, okay. But you need time. You certainly do. And obviously the RS7's out, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a looker, isn't it? It's a nice car, that, isn't it? Very streamlined. Lovely wheels. From the back. Love an RS. And Rory Reid now presents for Auto Trader. Okay, so this is Auto Trader. Last time I saw him, it was Top Gear. Yes, so I think he got the boot. Yeah. I don't know whether he did or he didn't, but anyway, he's turned up on Top Gear. Good reviewer, like him. So that's Auto Trader. And he does a good review on that one. So there's a few, most of the cars come out, and quite a few will do the same reviews. But this sort of week, it's the fact Geneva's not around. So they've done that, and then there's the odd one. This one, the Kia's come out. There's a few just thrown a review out. Okay. And we got Autocar as well. And then Autocar his is a different one actually. He sort of does the this is the No Geneva review.
No Geneva.
And they do a pretend No Geneva.
Oh, cool.
They sort of pretend they're at Geneva, but they're not. And the Renault we discussed last week, the Beamer, which is sort of, I think I said it was full production, but they're saying it's actually concept, but as good as it's going to look like that.
Yeah,
slight
changes, but
I hope it does come out. They say it's production ready,
okay.
and some say it's a concept, so I'm
Right.
not completely sure which way to say, but in essence I think that's the new i4.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that sells.
It will be. It doesn't look like that Koenigsegg at the top, does it?
Koenigsegg's tickling my fancy.
And the McLaren, but again, they go through the majority of the cars. It's another great review.
Okay, interesting.
Depending on what you want to watch, Carwow's a bit quicker. Arctic Fuel's blooming long. This one probably pigeonholes itself right in the middle. I watched them all.
Yeah, as you would. You love Thomas, so you can do the 2 hours.
I can do the 2 hours, no problem. Thomas is great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But that's the last one on the list, so we are done for this week.
We're done.
This week's been, a cracker actually. Got a few good ones on
Yeah,
there.
I'm looking forward to next week, because next week I'm going to all of my main 4 choices, because I've moved a few from this week into next. You just have to wait for my reviews.
Yeah.
But I'm going all electric. Electric's the thing that's buzzing around.
It is very
So I'm going to have a little concentration on electric.
Awesome.
Although I probably did a fair few this week.
Yeah, you've done a couple. Yeah, the Mini and everything. So yes, thank you very much for watching, guys. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, see you
Till
next week.
I'm sorry, I'm not for you. Like a